Here we are, and welcome back to Breathing is Highly Dangerous. This is a little bit of a hiatus I'm coming back from. There's been a few particular reasons. One is that I've been working on other things, and secondly is I've sort of forgotten about it because of the other things I've been working on. This has not been my main priority. However, I'm very excited to come back with this video today, as you see by the title. This is an incredible feat. This is an incredible thing that has happened. Bill Cosby has been released from prison, or I don't know if he was scheduled to release or he's currently released. I saw an article just moments ago, and I literally sprung up because this is something I've mentioned on my YouTube before about him being unjustly imprisoned. Whether or not he did or did not commit these actions, what he went to prison for, he should not have went to prison for. And that can't be changed. That fact is the fact. Okay, yeah, so he is scheduled to be released. This is a very good thing, because I won't bore you or lecture you with the details of the case. I'll just address them. If you truly do care, and if you truly want to have an informed opinion about this topic, then please do that and respond accordingly with knowledgeable information, right? I didn't go as deep into information as I could have, as I would with other things, because of the surface level things that already made this case an injustice in itself. So I didn't have to go much further and see the explicities within the court proceedings, because from the beginning, the moment he was indicted, that indictment should not have, that the moment charges were brought, there should not have been any conviction, and that's clearly seen. The things that happened thereafter just add on top of the injustice. All right, so we're gonna talk about this here. Why is this a good thing? What was he in prison for? He was convicted for sexual assault upon this woman, in which they had settled. I think it was they had settled out of court for in 2004. There was an admission of some sort of liability that he had to a sexual assault, which was then settled, right? Non-criminally. So he was not put in jail for this, right? Because sexual assault, if it's a criminal charge, you go to jail, okay? If you are found guilty of that, which he admitted to being liable for, which is a strategic move in this current court system, which is terrible that's the way its system works. But I'm going to deconstruct the system a little bit in this video, maybe, possibly. We'll see if I get there, because this is astounding. He was not in jail in 2004. Therefore, he was not held criminally liable, because that there was no criminal case. And within and I believe there was a non-disclosure NDA, non-disclosure agreement, or and that including that there would not be any criminal charges brought against the case. Whether or not that's whatever. those were sealed, and that should have no bearings upon a criminal case. Because if someone's, it's easily comparable to the case of Michael Jackson, right? His original settlement in 1993. It's easily comparable to, okay, what is the goal of the victim here? So you identify yourself as a victim. Would you not first want to make sure, right? If you say you want to hold someone responsible for their actions, right? Oh, get them in their pockets. Well, right, but that doesn't necessarily stop them from doing it to other people. So what's the way you can, if you know in a criminal case someone is going to be put away, so they don't have the availability to do that to someone else, if that's your consideration, that should be the first thing. Put them away, and then they can't touch the money, and they can be held criminally liable. They can be held liable for the thing as well in a compensatory agreement, and you would get monetary compensation, right? But no, they just want the money, right? Okay. That's what it's about, right? That's what it originally was. Fast forward however many years, there's an opportunity which that's not like if he admitted to something criminal, right? Sure, you charge him, right? I don't think that's what it was. I think whether or not that's true, that's conjecture. It's also conjecture on my part. I'll talk about the details a little bit, because I'll have to be a little bit less vague than that. But you fast forward to 2017, 2016, or whenever these allegations of technically they didn't start then. They started a little bit earlier about. And in the industry, the Bill Cosby's not who you think it is. So right. These things in 2016, 17, 18, these accusers come out. Tons of accusers. Right. All of them that are over 10 years in the past, to say the least. Not that that's particularly an issue in itself of having done something, but working with the system of law, can you be held criminally responsible after that much time has passed? If you abide by the current law and the jurisdiction of whatever state he was in, or whatever state those assaults took place, we would know that no, you cannot be held, you cannot be convicted of these things, nor bring charges against someone that you have when there is no evidence of these things, right? Okay, so we understand that. Here comes in the girl from 2004. Her time to press criminal charges expired before he was indicted. This was made known The case goes on. The first instance of them bringing it up, guess what happened? The first instance, it was dismissed. There was witnesses on the stand then that tried to give authority or give reason to have the jury believe or the judge believe that this is cyclical behavior. So determining a pattern of trait for the perpetrator, right? There was a few let on, or maybe I'm getting it mixed up somehow, but dismissed rightfully. It's represented at a later date after the expiration of time allowed for an appeal. The case was accepted, and witness testimony, or the same instance of provide support for behavioral patterns against Bill Cosby, was allowed in this case. And over, I don't even have a number, but let's round down, over 30 women over the span of 40 some years, for up to 40 years in the past or something like that, accusing Bill Cosby of sexual misconduct or rape. All in very similar manners. Does that mean he didn't do it? No. But their testimony was allowed in a criminal case that was already past its expiration date. And their testimony for things that were not brought up in the court of law nor presented as fact at any point in time for criminal liability, at any point it was not presented as a crime, was allowed to support the conviction of Bill Cosby. So uninvestigated instances were allowed as testimony, as evidence, essentially. I don't care about the legal terms, because you and I, this is the human thing. Take out what this game that they play in the court system. This is a human understanding of what was done. The reason why he was convicted is because everything in the court system was violated in the first place. So if you going to, don't violate my nomenclature, even if you weren't, but the people that would decide to, I get to violate because it's the aftermath of the violation that was perpetrated within the court system itself. It's ridiculousness. And this is what I mentioned about the court system. It's too easily manipulatable. It's arbitrary. It hurts more people than helps people, right? Whether or not Bill Cosby is innocent it does not matter in this case. If we're going to use the rules of law, the laws have not changed. The laws didn't change before they convicted him. The laws were the same. And I don't even care about the reasons people think that Bill Cosby was released if it's not the real reason. Because he shouldn't have been in prison in the first place for what he was convicted for if we're going to follow the law. I care if he did it. That's a personal moral thing. He has to atone for that. He has to live with his actions. The victims have to live with the emotional damage if that's just the case for it. That's plain and simple, right? But if we are using the system of law, the judiciary system, the judicial system, to be a way to get justice, and there are rules and laws set in place that must be abidden by or abidden by in order to accurately represent information, accurately represent a victim and the supposed the defendant and the whatever. It slips my mind at the moment. Plaintiff and the defendant, right? It's supposed to be even. Exculpatory evidence. Because you don't have evidence to support the claim that there was a rape to begin with, except the guy's own testimony for a case that involved money, not criminal actions. So he was... Okay. So there was a settlement. If he admitted to criminal activity, he would have been in jail earlier. And when you, what is the statute of limitations for if they are not used in every case scenario? They're useless. This was a severe injustice, and I've mentioned this before. And he's not the only case. And I so dearly wish to communicate with Bill Cosby about many things more than this. Because from a reasonable perspective, being reasonable, being rational, right? To know what to poke at when you're accusing someone of something. There is smoke where there's if there's smoke, there's smoke. That doesn't necessarily mean there's fire. That means someone could be trying to start something. But there is smoke, right? So my considerations of all of these accusations is, okay, what is the time period? What are the details? Quaaludes, right? Women and Bill Cosby. Women coming to Bill Cosby's house. Bill Cosby is a famous entertainer that does comedy about his family. These women know that he's a married man going to the house. And then they say he slipped him Quaaludes, drugged him, right? I don't have a doubt in my mind that is possible. In fact, probably likely that drugs were used in these sexual encounters, but I do believe wholeheartedly that these sexual encounters were completely consensual, considering the conditions. That's rational thought. Now, the thing that really gets people is this facade that they believed Bill Cosby to have, and he was supposed to be such this good guy. That was the judge's. That was the judge's reason for allowing these these victims' testimony inside the courts, because you held yourself as a moral compass, but these things, these violations against you, these accusations should be shown so people know who you truly are. And that doesn't make any sense. Because why didn't all of them try to present a criminal case? Even if that didn't work, like, they should have tried the damn luck, shouldn't they have? But they relied on one, which was also expired. If Bill Cosby had sexual relations with these women, yes, that's morally wrong. That I'm not for sleeping with all those women. However, accusing someone of philandering rather than being a rapist is two different things. Hold people accountable for the things that they've done, not the things you imagine them to do. Not the things that they are accused of, for the things they have done. And if they never admit to it, that's not your damn problem. Unfortunately, if you are going to abide by the system, then you must seek evidence. Meaning evidence to support your claim and evidence to the contrary. I don't get why there's all this controversy over these facts. This is not shocking information. These are people that used the exceptionally overpowered hand to convict this man. And I don't understand. And that's the thing about people. It's like they'll be okay with if he did it, it's good that he was there, even if it was illegal the way he got there. I don't know. If you tell everyone else to follow the rules, and the people that made the rules say to follow the rules, but they break the rules just because someone else broke the rules, then what's the point of the rules? We're not seeing anyone stick to it, so why should anybody? And that's my thing. Is should you stick to the rules? Stick to principle. But these barriers that you have for people that you don't bind yourself to, and you're using it as a control mechanism. So I have not once mentioned what many people have mentioned as a reason for why he was convicted. I haven't mentioned that reason yet, because that's not the most forward reason. The injustice on anybody, if it was someone I truly despise, such as, I don't truly despise anybody, but someone I figure and have looked up evidence enough to be a criminal, justice, criminal that does not want to change for the better ways. I would pick See, I couldn't even pick an individual person. I would pick a society. And the people that allow that society to exist. So I place blame on, because an individual can have a thought. It takes people agreeing with that thought or allowing that thought to pass itself in order for that thought to be upheld. One person is only as strong as the people protecting them. And what is protection? Protection is not always a physical thing. It's like you defend it. It could be an allowance. Like you're protecting these injustices by allowing them to go unpunished. Time and time and time again. You're allowing things to slip through the cracks. Because, and what I mean by that is, you're using relativity to determine or a circumstance, like circumstantial, or using it's ridiculous. Like, even like I'm thinking about Jeffrey Epstein and John McAfee right now. For those who don't know, both men dead. Claimed to be suicide. Both had incredible amounts of information and connection to very powerful, wealthy people. Both allegedly committed suicide in their cells. As I said, if there's smoke, there's fucking smoke. Who's been having the more consistent pattern of deception throughout history? The governments of people. The leaders within society. They don't all have to be one cohesive bunch in order to know that there's a sector of it that's off on some immoral tangent and the other people are allowing it to happen. It doesn't make them necessarily culpable, but it makes them defensive of it. You all want to say this accountability, or if you're not helping, you're part of the problem. But you're still accepting society as it is. And this is why I always come back to this of criticizing society. The societal complaints that one has. What are you doing about it? What can you do? Is there something you could do better? What opportunities are you opening for yourself? What are you limiting yourself to? What are you relying upon in the society that you have to change your reliance in order to survive? I really like to talk to lots of people in terms of misunderstood people. That's my thing. That's what I love. I love talking to people that get a bad rap. Because everyone, I mean, not just get a bad rap, but have done bad things, accused of bad things, have pleaded guilty to terrible acts, have been victims of terrible acts. In fact, I'd like to talk to victim and victimizer, perpetrator. I do that in my personal life, and it's afforded me more understanding than about situations, scenarios, and possibilities, not probabilities, and considerations much more right than I could ever have had if I didn't have that interest. Bill Cosby's wife didn't divorce him. What's the reason for this? Is she culpable for these actions? I do not doubt her coming from a culture of, black women really don't stand by complete and utter trash. Right? They'll defend some of it and then, But if a woman knew, unless she was doing it herself, of course, right? There's been no charges brought against her. Unless she was doing it herself, a woman that knows that her husband is a rapist, unless she's helping him rape these women, will not stay with that husband. However, they are more likely to stay with him if he's cheating. And there's definitely incredible incentive for her to stay because of what they built together and what they could do further along. Right? This is not a conspiracy. I shouldn't have anything I've said shouldn't be that out there. Now, for the people bringing race into everything, they're going to use critical race theory as there's another way of being black man down. Sure, but that's not the first thing. That's the end of it. Recognize this injustice on a human first. Don't even consider disabilities. Don't consider that he's blind, legally blind. Don't consider that he's hardly mobile. People are supposed to be held accountable for the crime they commit. If properly convicted. There was an improper conviction on all accounts for the original reason and it took 3 years. He was convicted he was convicted in 2018. It's now 2021. Bill Cosby. I empathize with your experience. Not as a black man, as a human. First and foremost. If there's any opportunity, I'd be more than glad to come to your location in privacy or anything like that, or anyone that can get in contact. I'll try to do my reach outs and all these things. I'm trying to get in contact with lots of Lots of interesting people. Maybe even for my private life, it'll have to stay there. And I'll have these experiences I'm able to write about. Bill Cosby. I'm glad you're out. The judicial system. Because I can't say necessarily America. Because it's not all of America. It's just the people in it. Right? Certain people in parts of the culture and parts of society that allow this injustice to go forth. And the thing about it, I think Bill Cosby may have been helpful to him. Right? I think it may have allowed him to do some thought. If he truly is a good place in his mind, it's like, okay, I'm in this situation. Maybe I can atone for some certain things, like maybe the way he made his wife feel, if he was truly having sexual relations with these women. Maybe if he even did assault some of them. What was this helpful for? There had to be a purpose. He had to create a purpose for himself while he was in there, and I hope he found that. And I would love to know that, even in a private conversation or in a public conversation that you'd like to expand upon. But yeah, Bill Cosby. It's a good day, but it's very irritating. It's irritating. Because it's not, justice isn't served. Like, any time an innocent person is released from prison, or any time a conviction is overturned, means that someone didn't do their bloody job in the first place. Therefore, the people that get it wrong should not be in the positions that they are in at that extreme of a scenario. Alright, be blessed, stay blessed. I'll talk to you all later. This has been Breathing is Highly Dangerous.